everyone. My name is Emily Mattis. I'm going to be your AIM host for this session. As we're trickling in to this breakout session, I want to encourage you guys to use the chat today. If you have questions, if you want to connect with each other, I am going to be at some point entering a survey for everyone to fill out to please give us feedback for the sessions and how the sessions are going. I will be monitoring the chat if there are questions and things that come up as we're going along, and I'll be in the background if there's any technical difficulties that come up. And fill out the survey at the end of the session. Thank you.
Hi, Emily, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Excellent, thank you. I'm gonna share my screen, so please let me know if that works. Let's see. Screen 2. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yep, I can still hear you and I can see your screen.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay.
So I should just plan to start at 2:15 sharp?
Yep, that sounds perfect to me. And I will just, what I'll do is I won't have my video or audio or anything on, so I'll just be here in the background. If things come up, I'm here and I can address them as we go through things.
Okay, perfect. And I should just go, right? There won't be any introduction or anything.
If you would like me to introduce you, I can.
I'm good. I'm good. Don't worry.
Okay. But no, I was just going to let you sort of introduce yourself and get started when you're ready, right at 2:15.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. I'm going to jump out of here so you can have the platform all to yourself.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, it's 2:15, so we're going to get started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tonio Lora. I'm a Microsoft Principal Cloud Solutions Architect. I specialize on data and analytics. And today I'm here to talk about Power BI and some of the very cool features and innovations that we've recently added to support the work of the data analyst. First, a little context. Power BI is part of the Microsoft Power Platform, and it's Microsoft's solution to bring the power of analytics to every individual in the planet. And the Power Platform also includes Power Apps for no-code application development, Power Automate to orchestrate any type of workflow, Power Virtual Agents to create chatbots that can answer questions posed by your customers. Now, as you can see, Power BI has been successfully adopted by many organizations around the world. This reflects the large effort that Microsoft is putting behind the product. Now, this effort has been recognized by researchers like Gartner. As you can see, Power BI is now the leader on the latest Analytics and BI Platforms Magic Quadrant from Gartner. And of course, Gartner is not the only one. Forrester has also recognized Power BI as the leader in enterprise BI. So this speaks a little bit about how good of a tool, of an offering Power BI is. Now, I could spend the entire day talking about all the features in Power BI, but we have less than an hour. So I decided to focus only on some of the core features and some of the new AI capabilities. Okay, so this is what we'll be covering today. I'll start with some of the main capabilities, the different ways you can experience your data, the very cool artificial intelligence capabilities available, and I'll wrap up with some advice on how to get started. If at any point you have questions, haven't used this system much before, but if you, I guess you can unmute and ask, or you can save your questions to the end, whatever works. I think there'll be a few minutes at the end for Q&A before I'm done at 3. Okay. So let's get started with the main capabilities. Okay, so with Power BI, you can connect to data, right, including multiple data sources, shape the data with queries that can build insightful, compelling data models, right? Use these data models to create visualizations and reports, and improve collaboration by sharing your report files for others to leverage, build upon, and reshare. Now, you can share Power BI desktop files like any other file, but the most compelling method is to upload them to the Power BI service. Okay. Now, with a Power BI desktop installed, you can connect to the ever-expanding world of data, right? We now offer more than 275 data sources that are available, including databases, files, cloud applications like Salesforce, Google Analytics, and others, right? And by the way, you can also create your custom connectors, right? If by any bad luck, the connector that you need is not available, you can code your own with the framework that we provide. And after connecting to your data sources, you can shape the data in the Power BI query editor, right? With step-by-step instructions for adjusting the data while loading and presenting it. Now, remember, shaping doesn't affect the original data source, it's only the particular view of the data. But it's quite nice because it's not a one-time operation. These shaping instructions are safe as a type of mini transformation process that will run every time the data is refreshed. Okay, so that's to get data capabilities. Now, we are expanding self-service data preparation in Power BI by introducing new capabilities to help business analysts extract insights from big data, right? So using the same Power Query experience that's already familiar to millions of Power BI desktop and Excel users, now business analysts can ingest, transform, integrate, and enrich big data with Power BI. This includes data from large and growing set of supported on-premises and cloud-based data sources, right, such as Dynamics 365, Salesforce, Azure Synapse Analytics, Excel, SharePoint, and others. And users can now directly map data to known entities defined in their models, modify and extend existing entities, or create custom entities, all within Power BI. Right, so we've extended the capabilities of this data preparation to work with very large data sets. After you've connected and shaped your data, you can build a data model by creating relationships between your data sources. And these data sources can be data sources on premises, on the Azure cloud, on other clouds, right? Creating measures to perform calculations on your data, right? This could be simple calculations, more like formulas in Excel, or very complex calculations, right? They're using windowing operations, so that go back and compare to prior periods. Very comprehensive set of calculations. It has its own programming language to do that, so it goes beyond just formulas. And you can also add a grouping, binning, right, to aggregate your data in chunks based on the values in the underlying data sets. All of this in a very intuitive and easy to use graphical user interface. Okay. Now, after you've obtained your data, managed, modeled your data, you will visualize it, right? And visualizations, or visuals for short, are designed to display insights that have been discovered in the data, right? A Power BI report might have a single page with one visual, or may have several pages full of visuals, right? And we offer features like bookmarks in Power BI Desktop, so you can capture the currently view of a report, including filtering the state of the visuals, so you can later go back to those bookmarks. Okay. Now, one thing to remember is that the Power BI visualization framework is open source, and this is very important, right? Compared to our competitors, the framework that powers our visuals is open source. So you can create your own visualization to present your data in a way that is more compelling to your business. Right? We see this a lot on the industrial applications, on medical applications, right? Where the data is better represented on the physical entity that you are measuring, right? As opposed to abstract representations like bar charts or heat maps, things that we're familiar with. After creating your model and visualizations, you should be ready to share with the rest of your organization, right? And that's what you do when you publish that file that you've created in Power BI. Now, after you publish that, or when you publish that, all the data model and the reports are stored on the Power BI workspace that lives on the Power BI cloud, okay, or the Azure cloud. Now, on the Power BI service, you will see a new data set, right, with the same name, and any reports in your workspace navigator. And remember, publishing this from Power BI Desktop has the same effect as using Get Data in Power BI to connect to and upload a Power BI Desktop file. So two different ways to get your content, the one you've been working on your desktop, to the Power BI service so you can collaborate with others. Now, after you're done collaborating on the creation of models and reports with the rest of the team, you can deploy the final product to a larger audience by packaging and distributing the content as a Power BI application. Okay, so the workflow is you start on your desktop, the Power BI desktop, which by the way is free and is full feature, right? It's not like those desktop versions of some tools that only let you work with a subset of connectors. No, this is Power BI desktop, completely free and full feature. You will work there to get your data, to mold your data, maybe create some sample code reports. Then you will update this to the Power BI service, where others on your team can collaborate using the same data set to create additional reports. And once the development is complete, the assets that are relevant to the final users will be published, packaged and published as an application. Okay? Now, let's move to experience your data. And well, we call it PowerPoint for data, right? We know millions of people are familiar with how to use Microsoft Office, especially PowerPoint. And users want to create content in Power BI Desktop as quickly and easily as they can create a slide in PowerPoint. The familiar user experience is key to ensuring that customers feel welcome, right? So when using Power BI Desktop, users intuitively know how to create a chart, add some text, or choose the layout because they've done it before in other Office tools, right? And we hope that by leveraging this knowledge, we'll make experiences even more delightful for users, right? They'll feel at home, comfortable with a ribbon that is familiar because it's shared across all the other Office tools, with interactions that are familiar too, like grouping visuals and resizing them all together. Same things that you will do in PowerPoint. Okay. Now, of course, with Power BI, you can create not only reports but also dashboards, right? And these dashboards are a single page that uses visualizations to tell a story. Right? And because it's limited to just one page, a well-designed dashboard usually contains only the most important elements of that story. These are also called KPIs, or key performance indicators. Now, dashboards are designed to always show the latest data, at least the latest data that's available to Power BI. Now, a dashboard is a nice artifact inside the service because it combines on-premises and cloud-borne data in a single pane of glass, right? Providing really a consolidated view across the entire organization, regardless of where the data lives. Each metric or insight is displayed on the dashboard as a tile, right? These tiles can be resized and reordered, right? The last update date or update time and source information is also shown on each tile, which is very important, right? As you, as final consumer of the data, look at the dashboard, you probably want to know when the data was last refreshed, okay? You can, of course, also add other artifacts, not only visualizations. You can also add text, images, shapes, videos to your dashboard to make it more compelling, right? Maybe you want the stock value scrolling through your dashboard, or some other some other more real-time type of visual as part of the entire visualization. Now, because of its open source visualization framework, Power BI lets you present data in the way that makes sense for your audiences, right? Like on this example, the one you can see on the screen, instead of visualizing, let's say, predictive maintenance metrics for a turbo engine on a bar chart like you have on the right side, we can see the color-coded numbers on the actual engine, right? Which is not only better, because it's very compelling, right? Someone that's familiar with the actual physical object will find this more compelling. But it could help us identify and understand new patterns on the data, right? And maybe we can visually see that pieces that are close together have similar values, right? That is hard to see on a bar chart, right? So again, visual insights in the context of your business. We offer a few out-of-the-box visualizations. We have third parties that have created many visualizations, a marketplace for you. If you are into creating visualizations, a marketplace for you to, commercialize, share it with the world. And of course, there is a way for developers inside an organization to create their own custom visualizations that will be available only to, users inside that organization. Now, I mentioned bookmarks, and bookmarks capture the currently configured view of a report page, right? It includes things like filters, slicers, sort orders, and really the state of the visuals. And when a user selects a bookmark, Power BI takes you back to that specific view, okay? Bookmark, in that sense, lets you save interesting states as part of your report, right? Once you have a list of bookmarks, you can use those in several ways, right? Including a quick way to pick up where you left off in your analysis, right? A way to organize presentations of your report, right? A way to create report navigation too. And we offer two types of bookmarks, right? Ones that come with the report, right? Maybe the report developer has created those to guide the final user through some of the most common scenarios on how to analyze the data. Because remember, these Power BI features or reports are highly interactive, right? So maybe the report developer has already interacted with the report in a way that find it compelling, telling something about the data, and save that as a report bookmark. But if you as a user decide that you want to do the same, maybe not share it with the world, but some for your own consumption, you can save that state as a personal bookmark. Okay, very, very interesting way to do it. Now, bookmarking is one thing, but we also let you personalize the report even further, right? And think about this scenario, right? When sharing a report with a broad audience, it is difficult to make one visual that satisfies every end user's requirements, right? Users may want to see the data portrayed in ways that are slightly different than the visual and layout selected by the report creator, right? This could include things like swapping what's on the axis, changing the visual type, changing the sort order, adding something on the tooltip. If you're a report developer, you know this, right? If you're creating something that's for mass consumption, your report will most likely receive requests for hundreds of versions, okay? Now, these type of requests are easily solved with this personalization capability, right? This capability allows users to make tweaks to visuals on a report, even if they don't have edit access to that report, right? And after making adjustment to the visuals, users can save their changes as a bookmark. And this eliminates the need to create separate versions of the same report or to ask the report designer for a change. That way, we are democratizing the final visualization, the final representation of the data, and letting the report developers focus on maybe creating new compelling stories with new data sets. Okay, so very powerful visualization, allowing users to personalize the reports. Of course, Power BI has mobile apps for Windows, iOS, and Android, which make it possible to stay connected to dashboards and reports from any device. Okay, and these are native applications, not just browser-based experiences. Right? So and they make it really easy to access live dashboards and reports securely from anywhere. Things you can do. You can, for example, set favorites for easy access of the most important reports, right? To the most important visualizations. You can zoom in and out of a visualization to look at data more closely, or rotate the device for landscape and portrait views, which will be different. You can annotate a report or a visualization and share markup snapshots with others. And you can use some of the characteristics that are unique to these mobile devices, right? So, for example, you can generate and scan QR codes and use these QR codes with augmented reality displays. Or you can scan barcodes and use the value to filter down reports. Or you can use the geolocation capabilities of these mobile devices to maybe filter down the reports that you have on your mobile device. Right? Imagine that you are someone who goes from store to store looking at specific metrics of performance. It'll be nice if you arrive to the store and your report on your mobile device automatically filter based on where you are. Okay, so those capabilities are part of the Power BI reports on the mobile device. Now, all BI tools have a single common feature, right, which is export to Excel. And this happens because some users want to create their own views of the data, or reformat the data based on their needs, or maybe match up the data with other data sources, right? What we've offered, out of the box now, what you can do is to use Power BI datasets as Excel data types, right? So now from Excel, you can link individual cells in the grid to tables in Power BI and combine the Power BI or power of Power BI datasets with the familiarity of Excel grids, including formulas and formatting. Right? So you can see here on the animation that I've associated one cell with an entity in Power BI, and now I can bring more attributes from that entity to my Excel document. And once I have it on Excel, I can do everything that's possible with Excel. Right? In this case, let's see, I'm gonna maybe sort the data or reformat the data, right? I want to display that with a dollar value. I mean, now sorted. I mean, I want to see a specific row, so I can delete it, right? And all of this is live connected to a governed data set living in Power BI. So no more standalone copies of all data on Excel files all over the place. Okay, we can let the users do whatever they want with Excel, right? Feel comfortable with Excel, manipulate the data the way they want it, but connected to a governed data set managed by Power BI. Of course, we also have enterprise reports, right? The traditional Power BI reports are highly interactive, right? They are meant for analytics. They need to be touched. They expect you to interact with them. There are some other type of reports that are more for printing, right? The ones that you will export to PDF, maybe, okay? More static type reports. Those we call enterprise reports. That are the pixel perfect type reports or paginated reports. And they can also be hosted on the Power BI service, okay? So you have those two type of reports available. Now, with Power BI real-time streaming, we let you stream data, right, and update dashboards in real time. And you will see that some tools say they support real-time streaming. Power BI does it really well, okay? Any visual dashboard created in Power BI can display and update real-time data and visuals, okay? And this, the devices or sources of streaming data can be many things, right? It can be factory sensors, social media sources, service usage metrics, right? Or many other, let's say, time-sensitive data that's collected. Now, there are 4 different ways to represent data, real-time data in Power BI. The first one is push data sets, right? So if you have an application and you want to, that application is capturing telemetry, you can send that data directly to the Power BI service, It doesn't go through a database. It goes directly to the Power BI service, and Power BI takes that and represents that in real time. Power BI also integrates nicely with Azure Stream Analytics, which is a service in Azure that lets you process data in real time using SQL, of course. We can use streaming data sets. There are some data sources online that are very popular for streaming data sets. Power BI integrates with those natively. And finally, we have recently, we've introduced automatic page refresh in Power BI. And this enables your active report page to query for new data at a predefined cadence, right? So for example, if I know my database is constantly updating, I can have my Power BI report query that database, let's say, every 3 seconds and show me the data as it changes. So not a strictly a streaming data scenario, but a way to display real-time data, okay? Now, we at Microsoft live on Microsoft Teams, right? Everything we do, from collaborating, sharing documents, having video conferences, happens on Microsoft Teams. And now we can have insights at our fingertips in the context of the work we do, right? By using this Power BI Teams integration, we can get access to all the information we need to make decisions inside Teams without having to ever open a browser or run another application, which is quite nice. We also have the Azure Synapse Studio, which provides a unified workspace for data engineering, data management, data warehousing, big data, and AI tasks, right? Now, with the Power BI Synapse integration, business analysts can securely access data sets and use Power BI to build reports, all while using the same analytics services and without having to navigate to yet another interface. Right? This is a very powerful integration, and I strongly recommend you guys to look into Synapse Analytics if you haven't done that yet. Finally, on this section, Power BI continues to lead the industry in bringing insights into the real world through augmented reality. Right? We've recently announced that Power BI for HoloLens app added support for HoloLens 2. And this makes it easy to view and interact with reports and dashboards on top of your real-world environment, right? Users can get report pages and dashboards into mixed reality, and once they do, visuals exist there every time they open the app, right? So you can think of a scenario where you have maybe you're in a factory, right? And you can pin reports close to the devices that you want to monitor. And as you walk with your HoloLens and look at that device, you will see the reports showing the real-time data for that device right on the side of the device, right? So it's quite nice. It's the power of HoloLens 2 and augmented reality. So we've covered main capabilities, experience your data. Now let's jump into the AI capabilities inside Power BI, right? And Power BI includes AI powered analytics for all the roles, really, right? From data scientists, analysts, and end users. Now, let me talk about each one of these very powerful capabilities. Let's go one by one. The first one is our Azure ML integration, right? And many organizations use Azure machine learning to store their machine learning models, okay? And what we are doing now is exposing these machine learning models that we're creating for your data scientists that are stored and deployed using Azure machine learning services and make them available inside Power BI, right? So as you can see, Power BI can browse through all the models that are deployed, call the models, select what you want to pass as a parameters. In this example, we are passing an image URL, and it's returning the tags, right? What things the model has found inside those images. And you can see how we invoke a function. And all these functions that you see on the left, these are machine learning models that were created by data scientists in your organization that were stored in the Azure Machine Learning Service, right? And you can see how easy it is to integrate these models directly into the report. allowing users to really score the data in real time, right? There is no need for do batching or batch scoring and store that data on a database when if the data is changing pretty often, it's pretty fluid, or you want to score a subset of the data that's meaningful in the context of the report, you can call that function, that machine learning service, directly from inside your report, thanks to this very powerful integration, right? Remember, this requires you to have, or your organization to have, data scientists that will build these compelling machine learning models and store them on Azure Machine Learning Services. What happens if you don't have those data scientists, right? What happens if your business analysts are the ones that have the need to maybe do some classification, some regression, some forecasting, but your organization doesn't have data scientists yet, or the data scientists have a gigantic backlog, and you are, at the end of that. So for that, Power BI offers what we call automated ML, a capability for the users to select an entity and select what model they want to create, in this case, binary prediction, a type of classification. Select what is the attribute that's going to be a label, what attributes we want to include in the model, name the model, select labels for the true and false outcomes, right, of that model. And what the Power of Automated ML is going to do is going to iterate through many types of models and through hundreds of different configurations, right? Different hyperparameter configurations. It's going to find the best model for you, and it's going to create this report, right? This is the report that the data scientists usually create after they are done creating a model, a machine learning model, right? And then you can integrate that report in the same way that you will integrate models created by your data scientist. The only difference is that these models were created automatically, right, by Power BI. Now, an automated ML, again, is going to loop through hundreds of different variations of model, different configurations. It lets you as a business analyst, as a data analyst, create these advanced ML models without really having to know much about data science or machine learning. So I see this as maybe a good starting point for people who want to learn machine learning, okay? Let Power BI create the models for you. Look at the explanation report, as you can see on your screen, that creates for you, right? And maybe learn from that. Maybe look at the hyperparameters, the variables that were used that Power BI thinks are the more influential ones. And go from there, right? Maybe you want to use that as a starting point of creating your own custom version of that machine learning model. Now, there are also cognitive services in Azure. Things like sentiment analysis, key phrase extraction, language detection, image tagging. Those models already exist. They are almost commodity models, right? So you can use them directly from Azure without the need to do automated ML or without the need of having a data scientist team to create them. And the way you're using is the same one that you will do for the data science models, right? And the one created in your organization. We'll connect to Azure, and you have those 4 models. You select what you want to do. In this case, is sentiment analysis. What is the text or the column that you want to use? What is the language? And what you get is the actual sentiment score, right? That's very powerful. You didn't have to code anything. These are models that already exist, and you can just use them directly, okay? Now remember, using this model is part of this transformation that's executed on the Power BI service. And in this case, they don't require an Azure Cognitive Services subscription. Okay, they used to, but they don't anymore. Now we've talked about some of the basic capabilities. Sometimes, the fastest way to get an answer from your data is to ask a question using natural language, right? For example, what were total sales last year, right? And using Q&A, our capability, Q&A, to explore your data, you can use natural language, right, to actually ask questions, as opposed to dragging visualizations to the canvas and maybe dragging what fields you want to use to display, right? Using the Q&A, as you will see on the example, just open, ask questions, and you start typing. And Power BI is going to do its best to match what you're typing to already existing entities based on the values, on the name of the columns of your entities. Okay. If you like this visualization, you can save it so others can reuse it. And you can also store it or push it to your report. Okay, so it gets permanently displayed there. Okay, let's go to the next. That was Q&A. Now, what happens when you receive a brand new data set, right, that you are not very familiar with, right? And you want quick insights out of it. You can use Power BI to do that for you, right? And in this case, for example, we want to analyze that distribution, right? Find what other attributes make that column being in that column chart being the tallest one, right? What attributes contribute to that growth, to that value? And instead of having the analyst spend hours through multiple variations or manipulations of the report, we can have Power BI go through all the dense data model and all the other variables that contribute to that number and tell us which one is the one that contribute the most. Okay? In this case, if it's a first-time visitor, for example, is the one that apparently contribute the most to that increase. Right, and just like you can do that with a bar chart, you can also do that with a line chart. In this case, we want to explain the increase, right? Why is that we can see an increase on that trend on the line chart? And here, Power BI will do the same. It will go through all the data sets, the data points on your data sets, and it will try to find the variables that better explain the decrease, in this case, the decrease of that value, right? And you can see on that chart, which is the category that contributes the most in positive way, which one is the one that contributes the most in the negative way, right? The one that's on the right side. So pleasure, vacation, a decrease on that is the one that's contributing the most decrease, right, for visits on the US West in this case. Again, this is something that an analyst will take probably hours going through the data, trying to find what is the reason for that. And now we can just, ask Power BI to do it. And if we like the explanation, we can pin that explanation to the report, or we can thumbs up or thumbs down to enhance Power BI machine learning capabilities. Okay, so the next explanation will be better. Now, on the visualization side, again, we offer lots of out-of-the-box visualizations. We often offer an open source visualization framework, but some companies already have invested on R visualizations, right? They have R developers. They love the way R visualizes the data. You can take that code and embed it inside Power BI and create R visualizations that are pretty compelling, right? And they are not just GIFs or images. They are highly interactive, right? As you select things or filter down your page, they will rerun and automatically re-render, okay? So those are the R scripts for R visualizations. Just like we have R, of course, we have Python, right? Which would be my favorite. And it's the same concept, and you can see how it works, right? You drag the Python visualization, you drag the fields that you can use, and you can see that we start generating some code for you based on the columns from the model that we're adding to the visualization, right? So we add those columns, we will drop duplicates for you automatically, okay? So you can see that code that's created, and then we just copy paste your code to visualize the data in the way that you want, right? In this case, we are using a visualization that's not available in Power BI. So it's the perfect complement, right? If you are on an organization that already has investment on R or Python, right? This is a swarm plot, for example. And we do have forecast capabilities, right? This is probably like you've seen this before, right? It's not unique to Power BI, but just wanted to put it out there since it's one of the machine learning capabilities, right? This lets you forecast your data in the future. You can specify the confidence interval, seasonality, how far in the future you want to forecast, okay? And of course, this requires a daytime field on the horizontal axis, right? Like it's basically a time series forecast. A more advanced type of AI visualization is we call it the decomposition tree, right? And it lets you visualize data across multiple dimensions, right? It automatically aggregates data and enables drilling down into your dimensions in any order, really. It's using AI, so you can ask it to find the next dimension to drill down based on certain criteria, right? Like the highest value or the lowest value. And it lets you really look at detail without drilling down or drilling through another visual. Okay, so you get this multi-dimensional view of your data. Select your own category, or let the visualization determine which one is the next high or low value. And really, companies, organizations use this to conduct root cause analysis, or, for example, identify top segments with very simple interactions. Okay. Now, we also have more advanced AI visualization called key influences. As you can see the theme here, right? We are investing a lot on not traditional visualizations, like maybe not a Gantt chart, but a more advanced visualizations that have AI capabilities embedded. Right? In this case, the key influencers visual helps you understand the factors that drive a metric that you're interested in. Right? Maybe you want to what influenced the customers to be returning or non-returning, and you tell the visualization to explain by specific set of attributes, right? And the visual it will analyze the data, rank the factors that matter, displays those factors as key influencers, right? For example, suppose you want to figure out what influences employee turnover, right, which is also known as churn. One factor may be employment contract length. Another factor may be employee age, etc. Right? Power BI is going to analyze those factors and see which one is the one that contributes the most. Not only that, it's going to create top segments for you, right? So it's going to show you, okay, these are the factors that influence the most, and changes on values on this factor increase the likelihood or not of this value to change. And these are the segments of combinations of these values that have greater or lower influence on the metric that you want to analyze. So very, very, very complex, I would say, type of analysis, right? This will take hours to a data scientist, or a data scientist, but a data analyst to do. And if you want to know more about the different algorithms that are running behind this visual, you can look at the documentation. Now, we also have a visualization that does key phrase extraction, right? So you can pass a text, and it's going to evaluate the structured text, and for each text field, it will return a list of key phrases, right? Which you can later use on a visualization. Okay, so you could use, for example, the results of sentiment analysis and key phrase extraction on unstructured data to create powerful analytics, right? Like in this case, in guest reviews, you can see what guests like or not like the most, and look at what things they mention in their reviews, right? By extracting the most important components out of those texts. I mentioned we have Q&A capabilities in Power BI. There's also a Q&A visual, right? If you feel like creating a report that has a couple of visualizations, and maybe let the report developer or report consumer ask freely their questions they want, you can add that visualization directly into the canvas, right? And as you can see, Power BI is going to help you resolve ambiguity when there is, right? If you select publisher, it's going to tell you, okay, you mean publisher from this table or from this other table, okay? So pretty powerful visualization of Q&A. We also have smart narratives, right? If you're an analyst and you want to Power BI to explain something about the data, right? It's going to look at the entire report or just a single visualization, and it's going to tell you what are the interesting things about that visualization, right? On text. Not only that, but you can modify that, you can format that, or you can add your own text, right? Like in the example here. And this text is highly interactive, right? As you select other visualizations, the text actually change, right? It changes, as you can see. Now, if you look at the animation again, you can see that it created this text automatically for you, and you can format it, yeah, change the color, make it bold. You can add your own metric, right? And instead of having to use a formula language, you can actually type, just like Q&A, I want the sum of sales, and insert that as part of your text, right? And again, it's not a hard-coded value. It will change as you dynamically change your selections. This is a powerful way, it's called smart narratives, a powerful way to create text versions of your graph, right? If you think about maybe a summary of your entire report, or maybe something that can be more easily accessible with people with maybe disabilities, okay? Finally, the last AI capability is anomaly detection, right? This is something that we do with the streaming data with time series. And we want to maybe discover or highlight things that are above or beyond specific thresholds. And instead of hard coding values, we're going to let Power BI look at the prior history of the data and identify what things can be considered as anomalies. Right now, it's not shown here on this animation, but if you click on one of the anomalies, Power BI is going to look at all the other variables, right, on your data set and try to identify which one of those variables is the one that's making that data point being the anomaly. Okay. Again, another example of how we are embedding a lot of AI into our visuals. This is actually a pretty powerful one. Anomaly detection models are relatively mainstream now, but hard to run on data sets. Okay, and now we just make it available as another visualization. So you have line charts. Now you can apply anomaly detection directly on your visuals. Okay, and I ran out of time, but before I leave, I want to give you with a call to action, next steps, right? Remember, Power BI desktop is free. You can go download it right now. It's of course only for Windows. Sorry if you have a Mac. Download it, install it, start using it. Remember, we upgrade or we deliver upgrades every month. That's how fast this tool is evolving. So you can install it using the Microsoft Store on your computer, and it will automatically update, or you just need to remember to download the latest version every month. Okay? And there are some other resources here for you. Very nice documentation. If you go to Microsoft Learn, you will find lots of learning paths and modules to learn more. There are some white papers if you are more interested on the architecture, how we secure your data and your models. Right, some guidance for large enterprise deployments, and some free training for you to become an expert on this tool. And that's really all I have. If you ever have questions, if you like Power BI, please feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. Tonio Lora, easy to remember. And hoping you guys learn something and find this very compelling. And thank you very much for your attendance today.
Thank you, Tonio. That was an excellent presentation. Everyone, I have put a survey in the chat. If you guys could please take a couple minutes and just give us a little bit of feedback on this session, we would really appreciate it. The next round of breakout sessions will begin at 3:15. So in the meantime, feel free to stay in the chat or move into networking or the expo booths.